Good evening, everyone. This is Dolores Cannon again with the Metaphysical Hour. And I'm live tonight. This is April the 22nd. They told me if I date it, that way you would know that it's live and not out of the archives, because I've been gone for several weeks. And when I'm not here, they do pull the shows out of the archives. But I'm back now. We have been traveling everywhere. I had my class in Arkansas. This has been in April. I don't even know what month it is or where I am. But we had the class in Arkansas, and the next morning after the class was over, I had to leave for Moscow. I didn't have any downtime at all. And we went over to Moscow, and I had 2 classes there, and it was snowing and very cold, dreary. And then I got back here, and last week I think I had a day and a half, and I had to go to Virginia to speak at a conference. So this week has been the only time that I've had any downtime, but I can say I can relax. I don't know if I'm or not. But we're on the road all the time. But tonight it is a live show. And I do want to make a little commercial announcement here, I guess. One of the things I've been working on is I do have a new book that's ready to come out. And I've been spending all my time trying to get that ready. But if anybody's interested in it, we're taking pre-publication orders. That way it's a lot cheaper if you buy it before the book comes out. And you can check on my website. It has everything on there. And the website is Ozark Mountain Publishing, but that's OZARKMT.com. Or you just type in dolorescannon.com, and it will bring it up. But the name of the book is about the three waves of volunteers and the New Earth. Everybody kept saying, why don't I put it all in one book? And so now it is, and it's going to be out in another month. But I also want to say we are in the middle of a thunderstorm. Right now it's rumbling all around the house. A thunderstorm with supposed to be golf ball size hail. It's been hailing every night for the last 3 nights. And they said it's going to go through Easter. A front is stalled right over us. So let's hope that all this electricity in the air isn't going to affect the phone lines and the communication that's going out. You can't fight Mother Nature, that's for sure. But I have a wonderful guest tonight. This is Michael Perlin, and he's out in L.A. He's a long way from our storms. But I met Michael. I think I talked about it on the show. It was in April. He made the movie 3 Magic Words. And so I was out there, and I was there for the premiere of the movie. And I've told everybody what a wonderful movie it was, and how we had a sold-out theater, and it was met with standing ovations. It was really had a tremendous welcoming for this. Everybody loved it. So I asked Michael if he would come on the show tonight to talk about his movie and about how it all came about. So, Michael, you're there, aren't you?
Hi, I'm here.
Oh, okay. And you're out here in L.A., so you're not in the middle of thunderstorms like I am.
No, I have to say it's sunny California right now. Where I am is 70 degrees, and it's pretty nice. That's that's why we pay the price.
I just hope that this weather doesn't affect the calls anyway.
Right.
But I did tell him on the air that when I was out there in Hollywood, I talked to a lot of movie people, and they all told me nobody cares about metaphysical films. All they want is the blood and the guts and the sex and the car chases and the detective shows. And I told them, I don't believe that. They said that's what the powers that be say. I told them I didn't believe it. I think there is an interest in metaphysical movies. And we sure proved it that night, didn't we?
Yeah, well, I think it's all about the way you deliver it. I grew up watching The Twilight Zone. You can't say that not one of those episodes were not metaphysical, and that show was very popular. So it's all about the art form and how you deliver it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Sometimes it's popular. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sometimes the topic scares people when they hear it. So you have to do it in a way that kind of introduces them to and explain it in a way that they understand. But you know what? You forgot to mention that you're one of the major stars in the film.
Well, I was totally surprised that night at the premiere.
Yeah. Oh, you were great.
You didn't say anything about it. The only thing you said was you have the last word in the film, and you didn't tell me anything else.
You actually have the last 3 magic words in the film.
But I was surprised that we were sitting there, and my voice was throughout the whole film. It was voiceover, and I was really surprised.
Yeah, well, it's we took the gems of what the guests said, and you had a very large majority of gems. So, thank you. And I didn't say this when the show started, but I love to just say that I'm so happy, and it's such an honor to be on the show right now with you. You've always been, I'm a huge fan. I've always been a fan of yours, Dolores.
Oh,
thank you so much.
Well, we do have a large audience because I travel all over the world, and everywhere I go, they say they are listening to this show. And I was amazed. I was in Singapore a few months ago, and a man came from Thailand, and he said, I listen to your show every Friday night.
Wow.
And sometimes I say, I feel like I'm sitting here talking to the wall because it's just me and the phone. And I said, is anybody listening? But I got an email from a woman in Portugal, and she said, believe me, you're not talking to the wall. We are hearing it. So you're reaching a big audience tonight anyway, and I think that's fantastic.
Well, good, because right now we need it. It's a crucial time in our spiritual evolution, and we need to start a wave of a conscious shift right now.
And I think that was what was happening because that theater was packed full, and if you notice, it was a lot of young people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's important. That's why I keep saying it's the Internet generation. We're making a big difference in that.
Yeah.
I forgot to give out the toll-free number, but let me go ahead and give it out now in case anybody does want to call in. But I do want them, if they call in, I want them to just talk about this movie. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight instead of asking me questions. They can ask you questions. So the toll-free number is 1-888-815-9756. 1-888-815-9756. But, I'm seeing how our consciousness is changing because everywhere I go and lecture, the auditoriums are full, and the people really want this information. They're ready for it. You can't say New Age metaphysics. It's something spiritual. It's something very deep that they need, and it's like they're discovering it.
Yeah, well, I think that everybody is ready for a change. I mean, I think that we're coming into the age of Aquarius, and it's coming into a 2012 that everybody's heard about, and they don't really know why or what it all means, but they're expecting something to shift. And so for me, I think that people are ready because they're kind of tired of the war and the hate and the violence that's going on on the planet. And I think they're realizing it's not who we want to be anymore.
Yeah, and that's what I keep telling them about, and that's what my new book is about, too, is how we are moving into a new Earth, where the vibrations and frequencies are changing, and everybody feels this. And I think even if they're not metaphysical, they know something is going on. You can feel it in the air.
Mm-hmm.
We are moving away from the violence.
Absolutely.
But, Michael, I want you to tell me about yourself. Because, I want people to know about you, and how you got into all of this. So this was really a big dream for you. So go back and tell me about yourself.
I'd love to. I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, as a Southern boy. Then I moved to Texas during high school, and I wasn't really into spirituality, metaphysics, or anything. I was growing up in a Jewish conservative family, and I was just doing and living my life the way that I was taught and by society and by TV. And I got to college, and early in college, I came across books. Edgar Cayce was one of them, and I just became fascinated with. I started to learn things that I'd never thought that I never heard about before, that I wasn't familiar with, and it was hello. Okay, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so I just started, picking up book after book, and it rang truth to me, because when I was younger, I never realized. Well, I just didn't see the planet going on the course that was right for me. It didn't feel right to me that we were still fighting wars, still killing each other, and still fighting over religion and land, and it never felt right to me. So all these metaphysical books talking about our unity and about these ancient truths from all of these spiritual teachers and masters and philosophers from thousands of years ago, and we're not even listening to them. It didn't make any sense to me. So that's how I got into metaphysical studies, because I knew there was an answer in there. And I decided that I was going to search for a common theme, because I knew that, we've had metaphysics around for a long time, but we weren't getting it. We weren't getting it because there's so many different ideas and spiritual truths and belief systems that people have, and they put their own take on it from their upbringing and their belief systems. So I just went into the search for an answer for a common theme that would tie it all together, that was very, very simple, that everybody could understand and relate to. So that's how I got involved in metaphysics. And I read
I think
a lot.
It's a good idea to get away from the dogma and all of the words and the theories, and to get to the simple part that people can understand.
Right. And also for me, I just didn't understand why people held on so tightly to religion just because they were born into it. For me, it was a concept that, okay, so we have a big division because of religion, and people hold on to them. Why? Because they're born into it. And
you're taught not to question it, just to accept it.
Right. And I was told, you're obligated. Are we obligated to be the religion that we're born into? That's the question I kept asking myself. And I just wanted to find a solution, and so everybody would just understand that we are not our religion, and we're not even our color, and we're not our country, and that these are the things that we fight mostly about is our differences because of how we were raised and what we were taught. So I knew there had to be a solution, because I knew that everybody deep inside on a subconscious level knows their connection to each other. And when you take away religion and country and color, what you have left, you have just the self, and which is what we all are. And so I searched for that, and I moved to. I was in Dallas at the time. I was looking at through a used book. Were you out
of college by that time?
Yeah, I was out of college now, because now I was writing. I was already decided. I told my dad I was leaving for LA to write screenplays, and I took off with no money, no support. I just went on my intuitions and to decide that if I do find this answer, I'll just make a movie about it. There was no internet at this time, so I thought, well, the only way to do it, to show the whole world this truth is to make a movie. And I didn't know it, but I didn't know anything about the film industry. And
you had to start from scratch. You had to start from scratch, didn't you?
Right. Yeah, and I didn't even go to school for it. Nobody really does when they come to LA, I don't think. I mean, as a college boy, with just a shirt on his back and some clothes and driving out here. And so I lived out of my car. I showered on the beach. I had a friend of mine, Scott, who was pursuing acting. So we came here together, to pursue the American dream. and I got a job at a metaphysical bookshop, the Psychic Guy, that was there over in Venice. It's not there anymore, but I got a job there, and that's when I absorbed myself into even more into metaphysical studies. And I was walking through the used book section, and there was this, I saw this little yellow golden book that was on the shelf, and the pages were falling out of it. The binding was taped, like with a big piece of tape on it, and it looked like it was hundreds of years old. It was just it was very magical. I almost had to blow the dust off of it. And so on the front there was this little genie bottle with the smoke coming out of it, and the book was called 3 Magic Words by U.S. Anderson. And I read the back, and I'm like, this looks like it resonates with me. And took it home, and I read the book, and guess what I found?
Who?
The answer. I found the common theme that I was looking for. And it was so beautiful, the feeling I felt like, okay, it was given to me at the perfect time. Now I can just focus and put all my energy into this. So I started writing the screenplay.
People have been asking me, is the movie based on the book? And I told them I think it is.
It's not based on a book. It's not based on a book. It's inspired by the book.
Okay, inspired by it, the 3 Magic Words, right. The book. Okay.
Right. I don't use much of the book. The book really goes into detail and in depth of it, into the concept. I just used the 3 words and I bring you into that understanding that and they're just words. These 3 words are they're revealed eventually, but it takes you. The film it's meant to take you on a journey of self-discovery, and the words are just pointers. And
yeah, I'm not going to tell them what the words are. It's for them to see it and find out for themselves.
Right.
So we're going to hold that as it's like keep that as a secret then.
Right. Well, the reason we don't reveal the words before the movie is just because it's like telling someone how the movie ends, and you don't want to do that. You're right.
Yeah, so, that's what I mean.
But I was going to say that we know the mind is suggestible, the subconscious mind, and of course, you're master at hypnosis and all that. You've done it for years, and you know that the mind is very suggestible. So we can suggest words to our mind and deprogram, in a sense, the belief systems that we were raised to believe or taught by society, by parents, by TV, and this movie is my goal of this movie is to do that, is to remove the program that was put in there as children, that we are separate. I always say that religion divides and spirituality unites. And what a lot of people don't understand what it means to be spiritual. They think, it means to be religious and to worship God. But no, I don't believe that is what the New Age idea of being spiritual is, because once you understand what it really means, and I don't know how many listeners out there are already on the path of true spirituality, but it doesn't have to do with religion. It goes beyond that. And so the goal of this film is to show you what it really means to be spiritual and to understand yourself beyond all the belief systems that were put in place there as a child.
But there are so many people that it's difficult for them to get past that programming because it's been ingrained in you, since you were a child. And it's hard for them to start thinking for themselves and asking questions.
Yeah, when the film was finished and we screened it, I didn't know what I had. I was really really worried and didn't know how it was going to be received. When you talk about this when you create projects that on this topic, on this, it can be very risky. People can get really angry and
emotional.
Right.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, I was just so pleased at some of the religious people who came up to me after seeing it, and they were like completely transformed. I was like so pleased that I guess, you know, we did our job. And Maura Hoffman, my co-producer, we did this. We created this project together, and we just looked at each other, and we were just so. It was such a rewarding feeling to know that we made a film for everybody to understand.
Well, you can feel the love coming out of the film. It is very evident. It filled that whole theater with this tremendous energy.
I'm still so touched and so shocked at the response that people are having by it. It wasn't all me. It wasn't all me. I don't really like to take credit for that, or Maura and I, we were just tools for a higher source, and we like to say that we felt just guided by a higher consciousness, and I think that it's time to for everyone to just feel their connection, and that we're all one, and that's what the film also kind of brings you to an understanding of, and it really brings it to you in a way that you can feel it.
But see, that's the way I work with my books, too. I never know where the words even come from, but I know it's coming from a higher source. And you just allow it to flow in, and it turns out to be beautiful. So that's what you did. You were open to it and just allowed it to happen.
Yeah. So it wasn't, to make a long story short, I got here, and it was created from nothing. I put myself back in school. I learned a little bit about filmmaking, and then I met Maura, and I said, Maura, I have an idea. I have a message. It's a common theme that ties all this stuff together and all the metaphysical stuff. And she said, well, I happen to know a lot of people that know that message, and I can get them for you. And then that's when Maura and I became a team, and I said, you're hired, you're on, let's do this. And it took 4 years to finally get it. You know, there was no money. I bought my own equipment. I decided to just do it all myself because I couldn't get any at the time. I don't think we were ready for this stuff yet. I wrote a lot of screenplays before I made this movie, and they're all in the metaphysical genre. And I tossed them around Hollywood for a while, and nobody wanted them. They said, gave me the same response. They said, this stuff is not commercial.
Yeah.
And
that's what I heard out in Hollywood, too. But, everything has its time. Everything has to happen in the right time. We're the ones that get impatient, but, the universe, they know the right time. So everything was happening as the way it should. But, it's hard on humans because we want it to happen faster.
Right. And I kept hearing a whisper, and I kept hearing a little whisper whenever somebody told me that. I always heard in my inner ear, I heard this little voice and said, just wait 4 years.
But 4 years sounds like a long time. But I know you're a twin. Your twin, Mark, did he have anything to do with this, or was it just you and Laura?
Well, my brother did help us when we were shooting, and he was there and assisted us. And we both started our journey on our spiritual journey at the same time, our metaphysical studies. So it was very helpful because when you have a twin brother, you're really interested in the same things. You go to the same places. You're your best friend, and so it's almost like being able to do two things at once. The books that I didn't have a chance to read, he read, and he's like, hey, read this one. The people that I didn't have a chance to meet, he met. Gurus and masters and places that he's gone that I didn't go. And so it was kind of like putting an extra arm out there in the world and getting more information. So it was a huge help in learning, learning the spiritual philosophy and metaphysics.
Well, during those 4 years when you were doing this, There's a thunder. I don't know if you could hear it on there or not. But when you were doing this, were you working and as well as doing this, or were you just devoting all your time to making the movie?
9 to 5, working odd jobs here and there for 13 years while I was doing my screenwriting, metaphysical studies, and then and I was writing a book and eventually this movie. Mm-hmm. And when you do that and you have no money, it's very hard to make a film, especially when you have consistency or continuity issues. You know, the actors, you don't have a shooting schedule. You have to pull them in and whenever you can shoot. So sometimes they'll grow their hair long, or they have a beard, or they get fat, and you're like, oh my, what are we going to do now? You lose. So I mean, and that's why the first rough cut I shot I couldn't use. It was when I took it upon myself to just do it myself and do the rough cut, and it was a disaster. And so we had to completely redo the movie, reshoot it, rescore it, and recast it. When we eventually got some money from Goodney Goodness, he was one of the guests who we interviewed in the film with the Modern Mystery School, and he was just such an angel and a blessing when he came through with the finishing funds. So we were able to make the film close to and true to the vision that I had for it.
Yeah, I think it's a lot like the work I do. It's like putting a puzzle together. You have all these pieces and parts, and then you have to make it blend where it forms the whole, and that's hard to do. Yeah,
and a lot of people will tell you that, you know, a lot of filmmakers will tell you that, we had to overcome the most amazing obstacles, and we thought that it was never going to get finished, and we had no idea where the money was coming from. Yeah, I had all that too, but I also started from nothing.
But you know, I found that out in my company too. You just have to trust, and you became one with them. You know, with the universe, you don't worry about the money issues anymore. You know it will be there because you believe it and you trust it, and it appears out of nowhere, right when you need it.
Yeah, that's right. That's you know, I feel like that that Earth is I've always felt the consciousness of the planet is alive and that it can speak to us. And so when I learned that in all my studies, and when I actually felt that, I knew that the Earth would support me. If I make a film that is going to connect us all with each other, with nature, and with love and nonviolence, and really try to make the world a better place, I knew that the Earth would support me, and so the trust is important. And eventually, I never gave up. I just believed in myself, and it eventually came through and came together. So that's what I would have to say that I really learned a lot about.
That's the key, is never giving up, because I know I have writers coming to me all the time, and if you quit, they're afraid of failing. Well, if you never try, you never know if you're going to fail or not. But if they quit, they never know what they could have done if they would have just held in there just a little longer. You have to believe in yourself and know it's going to work out. And I talk about creating your own reality. You have to first know what it is you want, and then you have to really believe in it, and then it has to come true. It's a law of the universe.
Yeah.
And one of the laws of the universe is the law of abundance. There's always enough to go around for everybody. So it'll be there if you trust and allow it to happen. Material things are the easiest thing to come into your life. That's what I found anyway.
Yeah, I think Ernest Holmes, I believe it was Ernest Holmes who said something like, if you state to the universe what you want, and the universe conspires to make it happen.
Yes, that's what I've been reading too. It's what it does. But first it has to know what you want. If you're vague about it, well, then you're just going to get something vague. You have to know exactly what you want. You have to be able to see it in details, all the parts of it. Then it must happen because it is the law of the universe, and the universe will provide. And it's a lot easier way to live than to be worrying about everything all the time.
Right. And you know, what I'd say to that is, you know, you can focus on material things if you want to, and if you want to think that's going to make you happy, but just, you know, I always remembered this one quote. I forgot who said it, but we don't. Why try to be the richest man in the cemetery? You can't do any business from there.
Yeah.
And so when we're talking, when I like to talk to people about, you know, focusing on what you want, called to the universe, think about what the Earth wants, because we're just beings inside this other living being, and if you go for something that the planet can do, that the planet, what we can do to change things and make them better here, where we're just, you know, we can create a paradise on Earth if you focus on doing something, putting 2 cents in before you, while you're alive on the planet. You just focus on 2 cents, and that's what I just hope everybody will do. You know, Gandhi, I put 4 cents in. You know, MLK, Kennedy.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But you know, all we have to do is 2. It's easy. It's easy.
And there's beauty all around us, but most people are just too caught up in their own misery to even see it.
Mm. Well, it's time to get them out of that. We're going to wake it up.
But I know it. You know, you went through the same things that I did in the beginning with my books and my company and everything. We do go through times that we're worried. We're worried about money. We're worried about, can we do it? How are we going to live? But we all go through that, and then we just suddenly discover we are taken care of, and to give it over to them, and it all flows. It's a lot easier than sitting around worrying about everything.
Right.
We've both been there, though, so you know that was in the beginning too.
Yeah, Gary Bernard talks about that in the movie, that about worrying. Like everything's going to go the way it's going to go, whether you worry about it or not. So there's no point in worrying.
People make themselves sick to worrying about things.
Right.
That's what creates the disease, you know.
Yeah, and I've been through some really hard times, and I've been through struggles, and I had no idea how I was going to get through them or how I was going to make it. But I didn't worry about it. I remember when I take myself back there, I just felt like I was going to be taken care of. I felt guided, and the right people came at the right time. So that's always going to happen if you just believe that you're fine, and not instead of doubt.
And it'll always be there. That's where you have to trust, and it will be there. You will be taken care of. But this film has such beautiful special effects in it, too. The photography is really outstanding.
I have to thank Riz Story, the cinematographer, for that beautiful work. I would call him a genius. He's a creative genius. And when I found him, he took the rough cuts that I had, and he said, I know what this means. And what he did was more than just, you know, we sat together, and I told him what I wanted. But what I saw was something coming through him that was divine. And when he put it together and did it, I couldn't believe it was exactly the way that I had it in my mind, the vision I had. I didn't even tell him. And so that was just the miraculous part of making the movie.
But it just works beautifully and perfectly. That's the amazing thing about it.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you about those 2 children. They were there in the audience, and of course you can see they did grow up since they were interviewed. They've gotten older. But where did you find those 2 children that you had interviewed?
Yeah, the family was friends with Maura Hoffman, my co-producer, and she met them at a Gothic spiritual center. You know, Michael Beckwith's church over at in Culver City, and she had been friends with them for a long time. So they grew up young, involved in metaphysics and spirituality. So yeah, they they were very, very amazing to work with, too.
They're the group that I call they're the new children, the ones that are coming in with all of this knowledge. And the new children, and they just know this. It's just very natural to them.
Yeah,
they were in the audience, and you introduced them, and they stood up, and you said, "Of course, they're older now."
Mm-hmm.
So they grew up. They grew up while the movie was being put together.
Right. 4 years later, they were there in the very beginning. Yeah, they shot up to teenagers. Amazing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But you have started. You know what I see with this. I think it's what you're seeing is what happened with the movie What the Bleep. Because when that man made it, he didn't know where it was going, and they said he just took it out and started showing it. And everywhere he rented a theater and showed it, they had sellout crowds. Until finally a distributor picked it up, and then it went big time. Yeah. And I kind of feel that's what you're trying to do now, isn't it? Along that line?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I would love to get the movie all over the world. And right now, just with me and a small team, we're working on translating it into every major language, so that could happen. And we don't have the DVDs made up yet. We're still looking for the funding for that. But the movie is available to watch online from the website, freemagicwordsmovie.com. And we're screening it right now all over the country. We're going to be screening it April 30th at a conference with Dr. Green and Lauren Eisenhower and Mike Vera and me. And it's the Mind, Heart, Spirit New Earth Wisdom Conference. And you can go to www.
Where is that one going to be?
That's going to be in Los Angeles. And you can just go to the website. You can go to the website to find out more about that, www.newearthtour.com. And then we're doing a San Francisco screening May 13th. And then I'll be in Sedona and Phoenix with the New Earth Wisdom people again, and then to Arkansas to screen it with you.
Yeah. I got an email asking if I wanted to come to the San Francisco one, and I would have loved to do it, but I've got things going on that date. Right. But you're starting to set screenings all over the United States if anybody's interested, aren't you?
Yes, and we have a section on the website for that, too, where you can go and suggest a screening in your city, and if you're interested in hosting it as well, that would be helpful. So, we're also looking for translators. If there's a language or a country that you're from and you want it translated into that language, please contact us. We would love to get that translation done. My wish is that every country can see this movie, because it will bring us all together, is my hope. And that's why I did it. This is what I did it for.
Well, my books are in over 20 languages all over the world, so that's why I travel to so many countries. But are you going to have subtitles, or do you want to have somebody speaking on there?
No, it would be subtitled. We already have it in Japanese subtitles, in Spanish subtitles, and we're working on some other languages right now as well, Russian and Punjabi and Arabic. So it's going to be really exciting to have them all subtitled. I mean, I don't know how many movies are actually made and with every major language, subtitled in every major language. Maybe they have 10 tops, I don't know, but my plan is to pretty much cover them all. I don't care what it takes, I want it done.
I think it's easier, isn't it, to do the subtitles rather than having somebody do voiceovers?
Yeah, we're not going to do the voiceover. It'll be subtitles.
Okay, because that's what I think it'd be easier, because I'm supposed to do my class in Tokyo in October, and they're talking about using subtitles on some of the things I'm presenting there. Of course, it's going to depend on this radiation and everything if they're going to have the classes that I'm supposed to do,
Yeah, that just reminded me. On the website, you can decide you can watch the movie online, and you can also click right next to that if you want your donation to go toward the Magic Relief Fund, which aids all the victims in the Japan earthquake. So
you're going to let them. You can let them just see the whole thing online, then.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Which is available now.
That way, if somebody does want to translate, they could contact you on the website, couldn't they?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Why don't you give out the website so they'll know how to get a hold of you?
It's 3magicwordsmovie.com.
And the 3 is the number 3. It's not spelled out, isn't it?
You can do either one.
Either one? Okay. Mm-hmm. 3 Magic Words Movie.
Yeah, and there's other ways on the website. Yes, and there's other ways on the website that you can be a part of the change, and you can help support the shift in consciousness that that we are all about, and that we want to happen on the planet.
Because I know right after I got back, from the premiere, we're putting our conference together that we do in Arkansas, and this is our 6th one, and that's in the middle of June, the 10th of June, 10th, 11th, and 12th. And that's what I was telling my daughter. I said, this was so fantastic. Let's call Michael and see if maybe he would allow us to show it at the conference. And so we called you, and I thought maybe it was a surprise, like maybe you hadn't thought of doing that yet.
Right, and that was very early in the stage of, I didn't have any plans after the LA premiere, because I didn't think it was going to be that. I didn't think it was going to be that people were going to like it. I had no idea that it was going to be. That was completely just. That's a filmmaker. That's what you could hope for. It's all after all the hard work and the struggles and the years of work, and you're just like, if people don't like it, then I'll just maybe be better at it at the next time around and make another film when now I have experience. That's what you're thinking when you're doing that.
I don't see any reason why anybody would not like this movie. It is fantastic. But that's why we asked you, could we show it? We're going to show it on Sunday, the last thing before the conference is over. And we've asked you to be there, too, to present the movie.
Yeah. And I would, if you plan to watch it on... Yeah, and if you plan to watch it online, it's on a small computer screen, and the speakers probably aren't going to be that great. And so you're welcome to do that. But just know that I'd like you to also know that if you go to the screenings and you attend the conference, you're going to get the experience. You're going to feel the energy of the crowd in there, and you're going to feel the connection, and you're going to get there's Q&A after that. So it's more of an activating experience, and the 5.1 surround sound and the big screen. So it's a little different, and that's why I'd encourage you to go to one of those, at least one of them. When they come to your city, you'll really enjoy it, I think.
Yeah, and our conference has been drawing over 400 people, and we're thinking this year it's going to get even bigger. It grows every year, so that's a lot of people to see it, and I think it's important, like you said, to get it out to everybody.
Yeah,
but do you have any other cities planned right now besides, you said, San Francisco? Any other ones that are set? Yes. Ours is in June. Anything else?
Mm-hmm. We're going to do Mount Shasta in May.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and my wonderful friend Sarah Leese, who lives there, is going to be setting that one up. She's the mother of Jared Mitchell, who is in the movie, the very young boy.
Okay.
I think he's 7 years old in the movie. So then there's Ashland, Oregon. After that, I think that's going to be sometime we're going to try and get that in from May to August at some time. And Neil Donald Walsh has agreed to, or has said he might be able to attend that one on the panel since he lives in
Washington?
In Ashland, Oregon.
Oregon, okay. Because in July, I'm going to be all over the United States doing a lecture tour and up into Canada. And I'll be in Sedona, but you'll already have yours before July.
Right.
And I'll be up in Portland. But it's all the times aren't getting together anyway.
Yeah, well, I'd like to get it screened in as many cities as possible. We just have to go with the flow and try and get the ones for now where we're going to be at this time. So, yeah, it's exciting. I'm really, really excited about this adventure with this movie and just to see.
So, if anybody out there wants to schedule a screening of this, and they have a theater available or auditorium or any conference or anything, they should contact you on your website.
Yes.
Uh-huh. And who knows? I mean, I have a feeling this is going to be as big as What the Belief, maybe even bigger. But it all takes belief, to get it out there. And I really think it is going to go like that.
It feels so wonderful to hear you say that. I just had no idea that it was even possible to. I just have so much gratitude.
I know when the man made What the Belief, he did it on his own. He had no idea where it was going to go, and it took off. So I think you're in the same category. You can do the same thing. This is your dream. Yeah. And you can show that you can create your dream. You just have to believe.
Yeah, it may be my dream, but I would say, as John Lennon said once, I'm not the only one.
And it's going to change a lot of people. I know it will. Because I felt the energy in that room, and it was fantastic. It was just such a tremendous love energy, and you could just really feel it. And everybody was smiling. Everybody was happy. So that shows you touched that many people that night. It's going to touch even more.
Thanks for showing
and you also said you're going to be selling DVDs of this movie, too, aren't you?
Yes. And when we finally get that'll be available on the website.
When you get it, are you going to do the showings first and then start with that?
Well, we have to just go with what we can do now, which are the screenings. I mean, we don't have any money right now to make the DVDs, so we have to go with the flow, and when the funding comes in for that, we can start making the DVDs, and we'll sell those at the screenings once we get this made.
Uh-huh. But the main thing right now is people to come and see the movie. And, we know that the money's going to be there, and you're going to be able to make the DVDs, and you're going to reach millions of people. I have faith in you.
Yeah, well, it would. If you want to help that mission, you can just go to the website and pay the $4.99 to watch the movie online, or pay the $9.98 to donate to the Japan Fund. And that will help us. That will give us, hopefully, enough people. I ask you to be a part of that so we can make up these DVDs and we can have the means to travel all over the world with this movie and translate into every language. So your assistance in that is greatly needed. So that would be just a huge help.
Mm-hmm. It's just like a pebble dropped in the pond. Look at how the ripples go out everywhere.
Right.
So you're a little pebble, but look what you've done.
Yeah. Well,
Okay. So we're going to be promoting it as part of our conference anyway in June. It'll be June the 10th through the 12th is our Transformation Conference, and Michael's going to be there on Sunday when we show the movie as the last thing on Sunday night, and you're going to be there to answer questions and meet everybody.
Right.
Okay, well, I think we're coming up to the time. We've already been an hour. Can you believe it? It's going to be time to sign off now. But that's the main thing. You've given out your information on how people can find out about this wonderful movie. And it's 3magicwordsmovie.com. Is that correct, then?
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is Michael Perlin. He is the producer and the main driving force behind all of this. So I think we're going to see miracles happen here. Well, it's coming time now that I'm going to have to sign off, and Michael, thanks for coming on. It's been an honor to have you on tonight.
It has been such an honor to be here with you, Dolores. I'm so touched. Thank you.
And I'll be seeing you in June then.
Okay, we'll see you then. Love you.
The way time is going, it's going to be here before we know it.
I know.
Okay.
Oh.
All right, well then, I'll say good night to everyone. Good night, everybody, and thanks for listening.
Aloha.
If you enjoyed the show, check out more of our other videos and be sure to subscribe and click the like button. Thank you for listening to the Metaphysical Hour with Dolores Cannon.